Welcome everyone to another week of Lightning Talks. For those who do not know me, my name is Jen Crawford, and I have the pleasure of co-hosting this space alongside our practice area consultants. In Rhythm's Lightning Talks, they do happen here 5:15 p.m. every Thursday. It is a place where our practice area consultants come together. They teach back to the In Rhythm community and LinkedIn Live on things that they're either passionate about, something that they're working with on a day-to-day basis, or on the side when they're not doing the amazing things that they're doing for us here at In Rhythm. This week, I have the pleasure of co-hosting this space with Fabian again. So super excited about it. He is going to be talking about Agile Methodologies, something we're very passionate about here at In Rhythm. So with that being said, we are going to start off with a poll. So
oh, sorry, Jen. Do you mind if we hold off on the poll for, there's a particular slide I have specifically. So just to change it up a little bit, you know?
All right, change it up a little bit. So when you're ready, I have a poll. So everyone get their fingers ready. Yeah. So with that being said, I'm going to hand it over to you, Fabian.
Okay, so yep, thank you, Jen. Appreciate it. So yeah, Agile methodologies. Before we even dive in, very high level, basically, you want to build large programs, large projects, you want to build a new banking system, there's different ways of delivering these projects or products, right? So you have Waterfall, you have Agile. So essentially, you can almost kind of look at it as like a project management type of methodology before we go in. I just wanted to clarify that before diving in because, we have different type of folks on the call. So Waterfall. So again, before we dive straight into what Agile is, we have to kind of discuss what Waterfall is and was, right? So Waterfall method, there's a huge project, a new banking application, you do all the requirements up front. What are all the features that we want, right? Add cash, withdraw cash. How do all the screens look like? You pretty much detail out the specifications to as much detail as possible, right? The whole idea of a waterfall is, I don't know if any of you have, I'm sure you've seen waterfalls, right? But have any of you actually tried to climb up a waterfall? I'm assuming I wouldn't recommend it. And that's not I'll definitely not recommend. But the idea is, once you go down
the steps, told me to don't go chasing waterfalls. So
yeah, exactly. Don't go. They told us, even in pop culture, they tell us don't chase waterfalls, right? So yeah, once you essentially go through a step, so you do all the requirements, you go into design, and then you go into implementation, which is like coding, right? You can't really go backwards, right? Now, sometimes I know, again, in real world waterfall, sometimes, there are change requests and so forth, but the idea is very, very rigid, right? So this was the traditional project management methodology for decades, right? For all the way probably up until the 90s. So essentially, yeah, you do all the requirements, then you design it, and right? Now, what are the challenges? It's too rigid. It's too rigid and resistant to changes in later phases, right? It's hard to deliver working software quickly because remember, you want to get all the requirements up front and get everything detailed. So then software delivery comes way at the end. These projects, I'm telling you, would used to take a year, 2 years, 3 years to even get anything out, right? Now, what that essentially entailed is that a lot of projects would go over budget, right? When I say a lot, I mean a huge percentage, okay? And by the time you deliver it, the actual software does not deliver the intended business outcomes because the business environment could have changed, right? Within 2 to 3 years, there's a lot of new technologies that come out. So initially you do all that requirements analysis and the design. By the time you deliver it, well, this is not even what we want, right? Hence, Agile came into play. Now we're coming to the poll. So which methodologies are you familiar with? Jen, if you don't mind.
To the poll.
Yes.
Is it showing? Okay. Oh, we got a lot of scrums. We'll wait a few more answers.
All right.
Can you see?
This is good. So Scrum, yeah, and this makes sense. Yeah. So Scrum is definitely the really glad to hear that, actually. That as an Agile practitioner, this makes me very happy, right? So yeah, Scrum, Kanban is very popular. Less, yep, I agreed. It's not as popular. Safe, okay, this is good. Okay, so there's just various, Agile methodologies as we just asked, right? Now, one thing I want to kind of highlight the difference, which there's a lot of team level, Agile methodologies like Scrum, Kanban, Scrumban, and variations. And there's org level, much higher program, 100 people plus project program teams, right? Where you have, scaled Agile, large scale, less large scale framework, Spotify model, Scrum of Scrums, discipline, Agile delivery. There's so many, again, I'm not going to list everything, but one thing just keep in mind is, okay, we have individual team level. So that's like 6 to 8 people. How do they operate? And then we have the higher level, 50 to 100 people departments. How do they operate, right? And of course, you have all types of hybrid models. So let's dive right in. Scrum, again, I don't want to spend too much time on this because I think we're all very, very familiar with it. You have product backlog with all the features that you want to build. You take, the items from the top, you put it in a sprint, and then you have you essentially, you have daily scrums or daily stand-ups with everyone in your team. So this could be front end, back end engineers, QA, product owners, analysts. Again, roles, it varies. And then you deliver something that's potentially shippable. And then you have a sprint review, and then you essentially a retrospective to understand and learn from the growth and what you could do and so forth, and what went well, what you could do better. And then you pretty much continue the cycle. The idea is in backlog grooming sessions, you keep fixing this backlog, you make it a little bit better, and then you just you go on and on. Kanban, right? So, sorry, actually, one thing I wanted to mention before going, how do I go back? I just said, yeah, so Scrum is actually, I'm not surprised that Scrum was the most popular, because Scrum, for most organizations that are new to Agile, this is by far, I would say, the easiest Agile methodology to implement, because it makes sense. There's 2-week cadences typically, and again, you could have 4-week sprints. And it's really easy to go, translate from Waterfall, the old school methodologies, to a new, a new breed, a new way of working. So Scrum is by far the most popular for any project-based type of work. Now we have Kanban. So Kanban is even simpler, okay? And I love Kanban because it's just so simple. Literally, you just have a list of items that you to do, and you bring it to, and what items you're working on, work in progress, and done. Obviously, you can have more swim lanes, work in progress testing, work in progress, developer testing, developer testing and then testing, right? And you could break it down, but it's ideally, Kanban is just, you want to see one board with all the work, and you can track it. This is very popular for operations teams, customer support, any teams where there's a consistent flow of work and you just want to manage everything going forward. For Scrum, it's more, okay, we have a large project we want to deliver. It's sometimes we'll have way more work, sometimes it's less. So it kind of varies. Operations teams, Kanban, very good. Then now we get into more scaled Agile frameworks, right? This is more larger organizations, 100 people plus, safe. Now, I'm not going to bother going through this diagram because, again, this is actually very, very complicated. I have done 2 certifications actually on this. But the idea is, you align organizationally to the different programs and stream. Basically, you align the entire organization to a particular framework, right? Now, again, you have release trains, you have Agile release trains, you have value streams. The idea of this is it's very, very messy, and I'm not going to lie to you. It gets very, very complicated, but this is for really large organizations. Again, minimum, program size 75, 150 people plus, but this is a very popular method. Less large scale framework. This one is also for again, scaled Agile, but it's a lot simpler. You have a product owner, you have, again, all the items that you want to build, and then you break it down. So instead of, in Scrum model, you have a product owner per Scrum team. Here you have a product owner and then multiple teams with their own sprint backlogs, essentially, right? So it's a little bit simpler, but it's also scalable, right? Spotify model. So this is a really popular one, and you guessed it, it came from Spotify. Right. So here the trick is, you have tribes, which is, again, it's like a team, right? So each tribe consists of, I believe, around 6 to 10 people. Again, it varies. And then, each squad. So again, if you see this, this line here, it's a squad. And then you have multiple squads in one tribe. So each squad would be, say, building its own feature. A tribe is a set of features that, it could be an entire application even, right? And yeah, and you have, several meetings there. Chapters are kind of going across, so similar to line managers. So say you have front end engineers. So a chapter lead would be like engineering of front end, right? Or engineering manager, front end, engineering manager, back end, engineering manager, testing, etc. Right. So these are kind of the key things to know. Recommendations. Now, again, the purpose of this presentation is not to really delve deep into each of these agile methodologies and walk you through exactly how to do it, because again, we'd honestly be here for a long time. As some of these trainings go on for days, even weeks, right? So, and it takes a lot of time to get up to speed in it, right? But what I really recommend is this. There's no such thing as textbook agile in the real world, okay? And I've seen this a lot where people will come in, they'll be like, oh, but we're not really following agile because we don't have this one particular ceremony, I don't know, a sprint retrospective. It's like, okay, but that doesn't mean that you're not, you're not utilizing some flavors of agile. As long as you can deliver software quickly and with sufficient quality and your stakeholders are happy, that's all that matters, to be honest, right? So that's one thing to really, really, drill down. There's no such thing as textbook agile. What I recommend is whenever you work in a new client, company, wherever, understand the methodologies that are used by your company, your division, your team. And again, they could vary by team, they can vary in divisions. Obtain a deeper understanding of the methodologies, right? So again, there's multiple ways you can read books on it, you can read articles, certifications, etc., and be in rhythm with your environment, team, and colleagues, right? And yeah, pun intended, like you have to be, if everyone is following a certain type of agile methodology, again, it may not be Scrum to, a textbook Scrum, but that's okay. You don't have to come in and say, oh no, we have to follow it exactly like the way textbook is. Be, in unison with the rest of the team and so forth. That's absolutely critical. And that's pretty much it. Very simple, very quick, an overview of agile methodologies. You have team level, you have organizational level. Any questions?